Okay, this is what we call a soda can flashlight. It's compact and extremely powerful. It's super bright at night, which is neat and all, but the real question is, can you start a fire with this? Well, yes, you can. In fact, it's not really all that surprising. This is an extremely powerful flashlight, which is putting out over 26,000 lumens on turbo. Okay, so this flashlight here is a Lumen GT3 Pro. This is kind of what we call a soda can or pop can style flashlight. It's just kind of a short, stocky light. It uses 4 21700s and it has 3 XHP70s here at the front. And it's really actually a very simple design. Right out of the gate, I'm going to say this is kind of a flashlight if you want just something very basic, but very powerful and very bright. Despite using only 3 LEDs, it's putting out over 26,000 lumens according to my measurements. So really the thing about this flashlight that you can see is it's very basic. There's not much going on here. There's no active cooling or anything on here, which is good or bad depending on how you look at it. For how much power this is outputting, it's fairly compact, and sticking a fan in here, you know, that's a moving part, that's a potential failure point. But when we look at the graphs, we can definitely see that it affects performance. So this starts out at 26,000 lumens on turbo, which is really impressive, but that doesn't even run for a full minute before it drops down to 4,000 lumens. 4,000 lumens will be sustained for the rest of the runtime, and you know, that's a lot of light, that's a solid output, but it's not a ton for a light this size. I think part of the reason it gets so hot is the fact that we're using just 3 of these XHP70s and they are being pushed very hard in order to produce that much light. That being said, it only sustains 4,000 lumens maximum, regardless of which level you're on. Here comes the plane again. I'm going to be doing a lot of editing on this. Okay, so another thing that really impressed me about this flashlight was the beam quality and the beam pattern. You can see it has this triple overlapping reflector right here, orange pill reflector, which does cause some artifacts. It's not as bad as other lights I've used. It's actually pretty decent. It's surprisingly intense. It actually does throw quite far for an XHP light, which I'm really impressed with. I really do like that. Of course, they're XHP70s with the domes, so their beam quality isn't especially pretty, but it is a really nice wide area light that still has a fair bit of punch, in large part due to just how bright it is, and it is extremely bright. The interface of this light is also very simple. It has a ramping interface, so you just press the button to turn it on, and then you press and hold to cycle up and down through the modes. As expected, double tapping will actually jump to high, and then double tapping again will jump to turbo. So you have to do a double tap in order to get to turbo. Yeah, so the thing about this light is it's just very simple. It's very basic design. It's just kind of a chunk of metal. And actually, it's really hefty. It's really solid and well built, which is great, but it's definitely very compact. I have other Pop-Can lights which are less heavy than this one is. But I do think the construction quality is really good, and I do think this will last a pretty long time, so nothing to worry about there. Now the 4 21700s here are user replaceable. You supply your own, which is really nice. I actually really like this system. Just make sure you remember your battery safety when you're using multiple cells and high drain applications like this. But the good news is that underneath this blind cap here, you can see we have 2 USB ports, a USB 3 and a USB-C, which has USB power delivery. And this can be used as a power bank. So this is actually the same system that the Thor Pro uses, which is a really good system. I like it a lot, so I'm actually really happy about the battery situation here. Now, one of the main questions is, this is the GT3 Pro. How does this compare to the Thor Pro? The Thor Pro is actually quite a bit different. This is a hybrid light. So it's got a flood channel on the outside, but then it's got a laser channel, an LEP, in the middle. Now the flood channel is surprisingly comparable. It's not as bright, and it doesn't sustain as much light, and it actually is a bit floodier, so it doesn't throw quite as far. But honestly, it's not a huge difference. They're fairly close. This laser channel is obviously going to be way throwier. The other big difference between the two is the fact that while the GT3 is a 21700 light, the Thor is actually an 18650 base light. So this has 4 18650s, which means that the GT3 is actually going to run quite a bit longer. The head of the Thor with that LEP technology is actually still fairly heavy, so weight-wise, they're pretty comparable. This one is a little thicker, it's a little chunkier, but honestly, portability-wise, they're about the same. And again, they have the same charging system. But because this one, the Thor, has a laser, it's going to come in at $400, whilst the GT3 Pro is $240. And that's really the kicker for this guy. At $240, I think it's a pretty solid value. It's very powerful, it's well made, It's easy to use. I do like it. I do think this is getting into the territory where at $240 you could probably stick a fan in here, and a fan would definitely give us more sustained output. So I'm a little mixed on that, but I also do personally see the appeal of just a very basic flashlight like this. And again, to emphasize, that's what this is. This is just a flashlight. So when we're comparing these to the GT3 and the Thor, price is a big consideration, but also comes down to the fact that the Thor has a laser, which is really cool, but if you don't need the laser, the GT3 Pro is just the better flashlight. And I do recommend it if you're just looking for a very powerful flashlight, and you know, that's it. That's what you want, because that's what this is. I think my only real complaint is just that it doesn't sustain a whole lot of light for this price and size category. Of course, it doesn't have a fan. I do think the best way around this would be to add a detachable handle with a fan on it or something like that. I don't know how much of a difference that would make, but I think they might as well add it. It is a $240 flashlight, so. But also, I was really impressed with the beam quality. I do really enjoy using this at night, and I think it's a great all-around high-power flashlight. I really do. And yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say about this one. So thanks to Flashlight Go for sending this. There will be links to this down in the description. If you're not interested in this, we have a bunch of other lights. We have a new updated recommendation list in the description as well that you can go check out. We've been doing reviews, and I hope you've enjoyed them, but we're really trying to do more roundup comparison type videos, and videos on flashlights that are a little extra insane, because we really want to make sure that we're delivering the best content that we can. So yeah, thanks for watching.